Hey, welcome to the Huntsville Hustle podcast. We're going to highlight some of our local small business owners in the Rocket City. And our guest today, he's got a unique business. Maybe you've heard about it, maybe you haven't, but you need to hear about it because this thing is growing like wildfire if you can get it out there. So, Andrew Smith, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, Joe, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So, Andrew Smith, he's the owner of Huntsville Explorer. Like I said, we'll get into that a little bit later. But for right now, take it back, man. What sparked the idea to start Huntsville Explorer?
That's a great question. I think growing up in Huntsville, like all through high school and middle school, it was kind of like a boring place for a lot of people that didn't necessarily know what to do or think there was a lot of fun stuff to do. And then I went off to college and I came back and it was just like it was growing so fast. There's all these things to do. There was constantly new business openings, new restaurants to try, all this stuff. And there just wasn't that great of a resource, I thought, for people to find what was happening. You had to scroll through Facebook, you had to scroll through Instagram, you had to scroll, or watch the news at night. And there just wasn't a great central spot for people to find out what was happening. So I started with a Facebook page and just kind of started posting about events and new restaurant openings. And that kind of took off. And we can get into it later, but I heard a podcast about a guy who had a local newsletter for his city. And I was like, why don't I turn this into a newsletter? So that way people can have everything all in one spot and not have to hunt around for it on 3 or 4 different platforms. They can see it all in one place in their inbox. They can have it and they can refer back to it multiple times a week. And just been kind of figuring it out as I go. And it's been growing fast and it's been a lot of fun to build.
Absolutely, man. You're right, because I grew up here in Huntsville as well. And you went downtown only if you're going to court back in the day. You weren't doing anything fun. You were just down there to go to court. It wasn't anything fun going on down there. So, man, it's growing and changing. It's so hard to keep up with. That's why you're such a valuable resource. If you guys are having trouble figuring out events and where to go eat, new restaurants, all that, you got to become a subscriber, man. Get on the newsletter list.
Got to.
All the cool kids are doing it. So, what's the rough number now? How many you got right now?
So we started in April 2024. And right now we're recording this at the end of July, and we're at just about, I think 16.5. So we got 16,500 subscribers on there right now. It's kind of crazy sometimes to think about, like when I hit send, I'm like, oh shoot, there's like thousands of people that are actually gonna be reading what I'm writing here.
Yeah, that's a great testament to you, man. There's so many options out there where they get their information from. So you got a small city. Listen to what you have to say. Pretty cool. So was this in the original? Did you see this as kind of like you wanted to know about the events coming up, or did you see kind of maybe there's a business involved in this?
So I've always been like entrepreneurial and just in general, but I didn't really know exactly what the business model was or if there was even going to be one. When I started with just a Facebook page, I was just like, let's just see if there's any interest in this in the first place. And I started, like, at first I kind of thought I was just going to like have a big Facebook page in town and maybe people might pay to, post events on there and stuff like that. So I started doing that and it grew organically, maybe to about 5 to 10,000 subscribers, kind of without me doing very much, just posting on it. And I was like, oh, there's really something here. And then somehow, I don't remember how exactly, but I came across a podcast with a guy who had a local newsletter in his city. He marketed it as like, it was a city of 40,000 people and he had 20,000 people on his list. So he had like half the city on his list, and he just kind of put it all in one place for people, sent it to their inbox, and people loved it. And he was just working with local businesses to promote them in his newsletter and stuff like that. And I was like, this is a genius idea. Like, why am I not doing this? So I kind of pivoted from like the social media side to the newsletter being the main thing. And it's changed and made a lot of changes over the months, but it's in a pretty good form right now, and it's been growing well. And I didn't really, like I said, I'm just figuring it out as I go. Kind of, I didn't really have a plan for it necessarily when I started, but it's been a lot of fun to build.
That's cool. I think that's a good tip for any business owners listening right now. Is hey, he owns that audience. Like on social media, like that's kind of a borrowed audience. Like they could take you away just like that. But with that newsletter, you've got those content; those are yours. So that's something you've earned on your own. So that's some way to get it. Your job now is to get them off social media and into your world, right? So that's a tip for you. So if you're living just off social media, anytime those go down, and they do go down, you probably need a better option. So you figured that out, man. Kind of gamify that.
I had a background a little bit in like building some content websites and stuff like on Google, just that's like a side hustle kind of stuff. And I had been wrecked in the past by some like Google changes their algorithms, and I was ranked up top, and now I'm at the bottom of the first page and lost all my traffic and stuff. And social media is the same, like you said, like one tweak to the algorithm and your stuff doesn't show up anymore. So having people's emails and being like trusted in their inbox is a super valuable way to reach them. And I think it's going to be pretty powerful going forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's it. So was there a post or a newsletter you sent out where it kind of really got traction? Like, okay, I think I really got something here.
I think it was just like how fast the Facebook page grew organically with me just posting about events and like new restaurant openings. Like I'd go try a new restaurant and like just make a little post about it. And there's lots of great like influencers in town that post a lot of like restaurant stuff. And just to see like that was still able to grow and like that was capable of growing was really exciting. And then so I was like, okay, well, let's try this newsletter thing. And I kind of shifted to that And I just set up a couple of meta ads with just like, want to know what's happening in your city, like join our newsletter for free. And also was posting on our Facebook page and stuff like that. And people were just joining left and right. And we're getting subscribers for super cheap. And I was like, okay, this is really something that's valuable. People are like super interested in this. People want to know what's going on. People want to have it all in one place. I think there's a business behind this.
Right. When in doubt, you can always hook people with food, right? They want to know about the restaurants and things like that.
Look, like the most clicked links ever in the newsletter are like when a new restaurant comes to town and they have their menu live, and I'll like post a link to like, it's not open yet, but you can check out their menu, and it just gets like crazy amounts of clicks. I don't get it. Like my wife, when we go to a restaurant, like she already knows what she's going to order before we go. Like she's looked at the menu, she's picked out like exactly what she's going to get. I'm like, let's just show up and like see what they got, and I'll find something I like. But I guess people just like to scroll through menus and like figure out what they're going to get.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. I'm so simple, man. I just point at pictures. Whatever
Same,
you got.
same. I'm like, I'll take that.
Yeah. That looks good. Man, there's so much out there now. It's growing and things are changing so much. How do you curate kind of what feels like Huntsville Explorer content, so to speak?
Yeah, man, that's a good question. And it's kind of hard. At first, I was trying to like cover everything and do a little bit of everything. And that's tricky. Like there's like Rocky City Mom who does a great job covering like kids stuff. And then there's like some places that do a better job covering like young adult stuff. And I was trying to be everything to everybody at one point. I mean, that was really hard. And I was running out of space in my newsletter and I couldn't fit everything in there. So I've kind of just narrowed it down. I just like anything that's family friendly typically, and I don't do any crime, I don't do any politics. So, like if you go to like a local news website, a lot of times you'll see like, so-and-so was arrested, or, they pulled over 3 people on the parkway or whatever. Like I don't cover any of that kind of stuff. We don't cover any politics unless it's like, someone is the new mayor or something like that, but we don't cover any political stuff really. And it's just all family friendly stuff. Like it can be, a mom with kids can read it for stuff to do with her kids, or like a young couple that's looking for like a date night can read it and find, stuff to do out in Huntsville. So we kind of just try to go with that angle of just like family friendly stuff that would interest like anywhere from like 20 to 60-year-old would be interested in it.
Oh, there you go. So, and then that's another business tip for you right there. Trying to be all things to all people is a quick way to go out of business.
Definitely.
You figure out who you are and who you serve, and just worry about them. You can't be talking about the new Lola's restaurant opening up and then some dude got arrested down at the Waffle House.
Right. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, probably 2 separate crowds. So when you do, you're covering a new restaurant or maybe a concert or event coming up, do you have like an internal checklist you go through before, all right, I got to hit these and then I can hit publish?
A little bit. A lot of what we do is like curating stuff. So, there's a lot of great like outlets in town. Obviously, when we go to a restaurant or something that's more original, but a lot of the news stuff we do is kind of like a curated version of what's already out there. And then we just link back to them. So people, if they want to read more, they can go check out the article on, like WHT or wherever. So a lot of the stuff we do is curation, but we do typically like kind of go through, like I think of like this 40-year-old woman named Linda as like the person I'm writing to when I write my stuff, and like, okay, would Linda enjoy this content? And like, what would Linda want to know about this or that? So if Linda cares about it, like this person I made up in my mind that's like my ideal reader, then I'm like, okay, if I got what Linda would care about, like she might want to know if there's a kids menu, she might want to know, if there's outdoor seating, or like if Linda would approve of it, then it's good to go.
WWLD, what would Linda do? Right.
That's right. Just as long as Linda approves.
He's dropping these business gems for you guys. Having an avatar for your business is so valuable. That kind of gets you kind of your true north. Like, would Linda like this? That's all you got to ask yourself, right? So that's a cool way to think about, because there's so much out there right now that you could just totally get lost in the weeds. So that's great to have that avatar. So Huntsville's a pretty unique place. We've got people that have been here forever, and then so many people that are moving in. We're getting new people all the time. How do you balance kind of those hidden gems, but also with the crowd favorites? So you're hitting the locals, but also the newcomers, keeping everybody engaged. That's a tough balance. How do you do that?
Yeah, that's so tough. And to be honest, I always heard Huntsville was growing so much, but I never really experienced it until I started doing the newsletter, and people would email me back and be like, hey, I don't know where this is. Like, it'd be great if you could include an address or something like that. Like stuff that I just have always known, like, oh, I know where like Mid-City is, or I know where the Orion is, or whatever. Like people who are like just moved here have no idea what I'm talking about, and they need like an address, or they need like a way to find it. And so I've tried to cater my writing a little bit more to like kind of explaining what stuff is if people don't know, and try to be a resource for people who have moved to the city, but also like not take up so much of the space of the newsletter, like talking to a brand new person. So it's hard to balance, and I'm honestly still figuring out how to do it. But I think right now Huntsville's growing so fast that a lot of what we cover is just new stuff. It's like every single week there's 2 or 3 new restaurants opening up. And so a lot of times we're just covering that. We don't always have the time or the space in the newsletter to go back and cover older stuff. I think one thing I want to do in the future is like right now we send twice a week. So I want to add maybe a third send a week, and that kind of be like a local spotlight type thing where we can feature, like if so like somewhere had their like third anniversary or their 20th anniversary, like a restaurant or something like that, where we can, or like a main Huntsville event, like we can go back and kind of feature stuff that's existed at Huntsville for a long time and like talk about its impact and stuff like that, to kind of give us an outlet to cover the older businesses while we're still also covering all the new stuff that's happening. Cause it's like, you know how it is. It's like changing day. Like there's just always new stuff happening in Huntsville right now.
Yeah, so much to keep up with, man. That's why you're
So
here,
much.
right? That's why you have a newsletter, right? So, I mean, that was kind of a surprise for you. Is there another thing that followers kind of consistently ask for that surprised you when you first started this newsletter?
So one like super random thing that I didn't expect was people really love live music and they want to know like where the live music is in town. And I don't know, maybe it's just my personality. Like I've never really like sought after somewhere that has live music, but there's a lot of like there's a good like big music scene in Huntsville where people want to know like what places are having live music and where there's live music at. And I had put a little bit of it in the newsletter and people kept asking for more and wanted like more of it. So now I have a dedicated section specifically to live music where I just list like in a picture, I just like write out all the live music that's happening in Huntsville and try to have it there for them. But I never really thought that people were that into live music, but people really love to know like where they can go hear like local artists or artists that are just passing through and stuff like that. And it's been cool to like find and discover those places I had like no idea about, like Tangled Strings. There's like St. Stephen's Music Hall that are bringing in a lot of great artists and stuff like that. And then of course there's like live music at the camp all the time. There's live music at Stovehouse all the time. And then of course, all the restaurants in town, like downtown, have live music. So yeah, that's one that I didn't expect that one.
Yeah, man, it's so hard to keep up with as well. So that's another one. Just more value. Why you got to be on the newsletter? We keep trying to tell you, and you haven't subscribed yet to get on there. So I do want to kind of talk about almost not really a sales funnel, but kind of. But how do you take kind of someone casually scrolling on social media? How do you take them from email subscriber to maybe they go to an event and then eventually maybe become part of your premium content? How do you move people along on that funnel?
Yeah, so the biggest growth hack for us has just been setting up some meta ads to run in the background. Like people are already scrolling through. We post every now and then on social, like our socials, just like as like a standard post, like about the newsletter, and of course with like the links in our bio and stuff like that. But people don't really want to like see call to actions to subscribe to the newsletter all the time. So what we do typically is we set up just meta ads to run in the background, and just kind of the hook is like, want to know what's happening in Huntsville? Join our free weekly newsletter. And Facebook is great where you can just like pop your email in right there. You don't even have to leave Facebook. You can just pop your email in. And then, we use some services to move it over to our email list. But that's been the biggest growth hack, is just setting those up. And kind of as we've partnered, like when we were first starting, as we were partnering with a couple businesses that were interested in like sponsoring our newsletters and stuff like that, we just throw all that money back into growth and kind of fueling the growth of the newsletter to just get more people on the list and tell people what's happening in town. And then in terms of like getting them into like become a premium subscriber, so we have like a small membership where like people can pay $9 a month if they want A, to support what we're doing, and B, like have a chance to get some extra bonuses. Like we do like member only giveaways and stuff like that, just like gift cards, local businesses, or event tickets. We send our premium subscribers a list of all the events that are happening in Huntsville, like at the beginning of the month. So like I'm working on the list right now for August. So they'll get a big list of everything happening in August, and they get a shout out in the newsletter, stuff like that. Just like, it's more of a way for people to support what we're doing. If they want to, like they have some extra money and they want to support a local business, and they get a few perks along the way. I just kind of promote that naturally in the content. I try not to make it feel forced, because I don't want anybody to feel bad for not joining. It's just like, hey, like if you want to and you have a little extra money, this is the way you can support us. But I try hard not to make it feel like shamed if you don't want to do that, if you don't have the money to do that, because I know everybody's in different stages in life and stuff. So
Yeah, he's not gonna do like those dog commercials where there's like Sarah McLachlan music playing in the background.
yeah,
Make you feel guilty.
I'm not gonna play in the arms of an angel and make you feel bad for not giving me your $9 a month.
That's it. Yeah, it's a nice way of, hey, if you can chip in, help us out, please do. You can click right here. It's super simple. It's some small part of the newsletter. You can do that right there. So you mentioned that how you find who's a good fit is if Linda would like it. What is there any kind of list you go through where that's kind of a deal breaker for you?
Not really. Typically what we cover the most of, like sometimes I'll get people in my DMs that will like mention that they're opening a new like contracting business or a new painting business or something like that, and like want a shout out. And that's kind of tricky for us, because that's not really something we naturally cover. Like that would be more of like someone who might sponsor our newsletter or something like that. And we have a hard time sometimes figuring out how to balance that. But typically anything that is like if Linda would like it, if it's family friendly, there's no crime and no politics, we try to find a way to cover it in one way or another. We almost always cover new restaurants. We almost always cover new like event venues or stuff like that coming to town. And then typically if there's extra space, then we'll pick from, maybe some of the stuff that might not be normally what we'd cover, but people might be interested in or something like that. But I don't have any hard and fast rules. It's kind of just a judgment call. I kind of just think through like, okay, would Linda like this? And if Linda would like this, like, okay, well, do we have the space? And if we have the space, then we just put it in there.
I get it, man. Because there's so many businesses come to Huntsville. You're like, I have no idea what they do or what's happening here.
100%.
So Linda would like that. Linda doesn't. If she can't go get a taco there, then Linda doesn't want to go
there. If Linda doesn't want a taco, then we probably can't cover it.
Yeah, that's it. So I want to kind of look what your kind of weekly content workflow would look like, kind of behind the scenes, like your tools, scheduling. How do you kind of sit down and go from zero to a complete newsletter?
Yeah, so we send, right now we send twice a week. We send on Tuesdays and Fridays. So I have a VA that kind of helps me pull in a lot of the events. Like I have a list of like a lot of the calendars in town and like taught them how to go through Facebook events and pull stuff. So she helps me pull in a lot of events into the newsletter. We use Beehive to send our newsletter. And so typically how it works is like on Monday morning, I go in there and she's pulled in a lot of the events and I kind of just click through the calendars and double check things, scroll back through Facebook and like add any events that she might have missed that I think I want to add. Take off anything that maybe she put in there that's not going to be a good fit and kind of do that. So that helps with that. And then content wise, like for what we put in the newsletter, I'll usually like scroll through like a bunch of news sources and scroll through Facebook and Instagram like the morning of, and we use Notion and I just kind of put the stories in there that I think I want to cover and I have somebody that helps me write some of them because I do work full time too. So it's kind of tricky to get everything done on time. So I have a few people that help out, but so we get all that done, kind of get put in place. And then usually around noon, all that's put into place and I'll kind of go in there and I'll build the newsletter out and kind of format everything and tweak it and adjust it and, make edits and stuff like that and kind of format it how I like it. And then if it's good to go, I'll just schedule it to get sent out in the morning. And then I just repeat that process later in the week for the Friday one.
Nice. You got to have those processes, man. You got to have systems in place. That's for sure.
Got to. I didn't have any in place at first and it was killing me trying to do that and some other projects I was working on. So got a couple projects in place. And it's much smoother now.
Yeah. Ask me how I know. We all do that at first. We're like, it's all over the place, but man, those systems are so valuable. So I want to ask you this. So if you had to double Huntsville Explorer's reach in 6 months with almost zero ad spend, how would you go about doing it?
Man, that's a tricky question because like a lot of the growth is through ad spend. I'd probably post a lot on social media, just probably daily or every other day, posting a lot, trying to get people on social media to subscribe. I'd probably set up some type of referral system like Beehive. And then I haven't really played around with it too much, but in Beehive, they have a referral system where you can give people like a unique link. And if they share it with like their mom or their sibling or something like that, and they subscribe, they get a credit for it. And then you can set up like prizes, like a shout out in the newsletter for like 3 subscribers or something like that to kind of get people to do it, do the growth for me. And then I don't know what else I do. I may like, have you seen those videos of the people who run around like downtown with like a QR code box on their head and like scan this box for a free pizza and they just like run around town? Like I probably do something crazy like that and run around downtown and try to get people to scan a box on my head or something to subscribe to the newsletter or something. I don't really know.
Hey man, whatever it takes. In the beginning, man, when you're doing that guerrilla marketing style, man, everything goes, right? So,
that's right.
So is there a metric you use that kind of tells you that your content's really moving? Is it clicks? Is it open rates? What do you kind of look at? What does success look like for a newsletter?
Yeah, so typically I try to, like I consider a good newsletter, like if we have over 50% open rates and we have above like a 5% click-through rate. Sometimes in like just depending on what's happening that week, like the clicks may not be as high as normal. Like sometimes they may be 10%, sometimes they may be 5%, just depending on like if we're sharing about a menu for a new restaurant, the click rate is going to be higher because people love to look at new menus. But if there's no new restaurants that week and it's more just kind of like people can kind of scan the newsletter and get the idea and they don't have to click out, then the click rate's lower. But usually like 5 to 10% is what I look at. And then we're usually around 55% open rate. So anything above 50, I consider success. We've had some issue in the past with like our newsletters landing in the promotion tabs, like in Gmail and stuff like that. So I've done a lot of work on trying to figure out what makes it land in promotion versus the primary inbox and like what I can do to have a better success at landing in the primary inbox. But I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, we had one that was like a 32% open rate and our normal was like 55. So I was like, oh, something's not right here. And it turned out it was landing in promotions or spam for a lot of stuff. And we had to kind of figure out how to tweak and adjust that. But I think I've got it mostly figured out, knock on wood. But yeah, I usually like look at those metrics, and if those metrics are average, then I consider it, a pretty good successful newsletter. And on the Friday ones, we also usually do like give us some feedback on this newsletter, and they can vote like if it was like if we like crushed it, or if it needed a little bit of work, or if it needs a lot of work. And as long as most people are saying that we crushed it, I consider it pretty good.
Man, for as big as your email list is, over 50% is amazing open rates. That's really, really good, man.
Yeah, we've been really happy with it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, if anyone out there has an email list, they're like 50%, they're going to think crazy open rates, man. So well done on that.
Thank you. We try to keep the list clean too. Like because people are subscribing for Facebook and they don't like always mean to subscribe, or they don't always even remember they subscribed. So if after like 60 days they haven't opened anything or engaged with anything, we kind of move them off the list to just keep the list clean. That way our sponsors and our advertisers are getting the most bang for their buck. Like I don't want them to be, I don't want our numbers to feel like they're inflated or anything. So they know what they're getting and make sure they're staying in front of a highly engaged audience.
That's awesome, man. Yes, that's it. So you mentioned not having systems in the beginning. Was there any other mistakes that kind of cost you time and money early on that you would do differently now?
I don't know that necessarily cost me time or money, but just being inconsistent with my schedule, and like, especially like on social media, consistency is key. So just being consistent and trying to get like a posting schedule down is probably one thing I really struggled with. Like at first I was excited about it and it was fun, and like it was fun to see all the engagement and stuff like that. So it was easy to post, but then kind of after you get used to it and after you kind of get in the rhythm of it, sometimes it's like, oh shoot, like I got to come up with a Facebook post for tonight really quick, or something. I get home from work and I'm like, oh man, I got to come up with something real quick. And so not being consistent there, I think hurt a little bit with the growth. And then honestly, not using meta ads to go to the newsletter at first, I think was like, it was fun to build organically. But once I figured out the systems, I wish I had grown it a little bit sooner, just so we could grow a little bit faster and provide more value to more people faster. But yeah, that's probably the two main things.
Yeah, those are good tips right there for sure. So I think we've all kind of learned those in the beginning of our business, things like that we wish we would have done different. But sometimes, you're pretty happy with where you are. So things happen for a reason. So, man, we're going to move on to the lightning round. Are you prepared for the lightning round?
Oh gosh. Yeah. We'll see.
Put your seatbelt on. Get ready for this. All right.
I'm buckling up.
Somebody's going to be really tough, man, for what you do. You got so many options on these, though. But what's the most underrated Huntsville lunch for under $15?
Okay, I might get a little bit hate for this for some reason because it's the most basic lunch ever, but I had to. Number one is the Big Daddy's plate from Tenders. For some reason, it just hits. You get fries and your chicken tenders and your coleslaw and your toast it's like 12 or 13 bucks. And then also just love Little Rosie. So go there all the time and you can pretty much get anything under 15 bucks there. But there's also great new places like Lola's and some other places that are pretty good too.
Hey, those are good. If it works, it works, right? Who cares
if it hits, it hits.
Yeah, that's right, man. So what's the best trail or maybe a park for new residents where they're like, oh, wow, I live here now?
Yeah, honestly, again, a pretty basic answer, but I just think Big Spring Park is so beautiful. Like with the water and the bridge and the trees and just like the cityscape of downtown, like it's hard to beat that for me. Like if you can go there and get a bite to eat, and then you can walk around the park, and then you can go get ice cream from like Big Spoon or somewhere. It's just hard to beat that. So if I was like bringing somebody to Huntsville or trying to convince somebody to Huntsville, I'd probably take them there.
Yeah, I mean, the Red Bridge. Can't beat the Red Bridge, right?
Can't beat the Red Bridge. And the water and the ducks is just beautiful.
Yeah. So what's one annual Huntsville event that nobody should miss?
I got to say Tinsel Trail. Every single year, I love Tinsel Trail, like walking to the trail and then doing the ice skating at the Museum of Art. It's just hard to beat that. Like that's become a Huntsville Christmas staple that I think everybody needs to go to. Just hard to beat that one.
Man, and the trees are amazing. People go all in on these trees. If you don't go on, you just heard about it, you got to go check it out for sure. So if you need to go somewhere like a local coffee shop or a restaurant or somewhere, where's the place you would go to crank out some edits on your newsletter?
Yeah, probably coffee shop. I like Gold Sprint a lot, and I like Angels Island a lot. So those are probably the two main places I go. There's lots of great coffee shops in town. Those are just kind of close to me. That's where I typically would go and just pop some headphones in and just sit there and crank some stuff out and enjoy some coffee.
Man, I don't get it. I'm so much more productive at a coffee shop than my house. I don't get it. I don't know why. I have coffee.
You get a lot more done. I don't know why. Yeah. It's the delicious coffee, I guess.
It must be special, especially Angels, man. If you go there, something's going on that coffee. You got to go check it. So if Huntsville Explorer had a theme song, what would it be, and why would that be?
Oh man, that's a good question. I had a hard time with this one. I wasn't sure. I just put a cop-out answer and did Rocket Man, just because the rocket theme and the space theme. I don't know. I couldn't think of a good one, and I was like, oh man, he's gonna make fun of me for this. But yeah, I just love the space theme of Huntsville. Like it's so fun to see like all the like people have space themed drinks and people have space themed food at their restaurant. It's just cool to have like one central thing that everybody in Huntsville is kind of like excited about. So I like the space theme. So I just went with Rocket Man.
Nothing wrong with Rocket Man. Nothing wrong. Hey, no hate over here, man. But before we head out here, man, what's next for Huntsville Explorer? What do you see yourself doing next?
Yeah, so we're trying really hard to get to 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So that's our goal. Like I said, we're about 16,500 right now. So I think we can hit it. Hopefully a couple listeners might subscribe to help us get there. And then we want to do more community engagement in 2026. Like we're looking to sponsor a couple events, maybe have a tree at Tinsel Trail, stuff like that, to just get our name out there in front of the community and kind of to make it a name people see and kind of know what it is. Right now, people kind of know Huntsville Explorer, but we want them to be like, oh, Huntsville Explorer, like I love that newsletter. So trying to get our name out there by just like sponsoring Panoply maybe and the Tinsel Trail and just other community events that people love. And we just want to be associated with things that people love about Huntsville and also support the people that are putting that kind of stuff on and working so hard to throw these awesome events for Huntsville.
There you go. Hey, that's it. And if you're listening right now and you don't subscribe, you're dead to me. Okay? Putting that out there right now, you're dead to me. Hey, you got to get on there. Get on there and you're going to... takes you less than 5 minutes to read, and you learn so much. It's packed in there. Short, concise information that's going to get you what you need to know. It's not going to mess around. It's going to, you get the new menus on there. You can go on there. Your wife can know exactly what she wants to eat. When you go there, you can go look at the pictures. Man, it's just fantastic. You do a great job on it, man. I don't know how you do it every week.
Thank you.
Put them out. That's a tough job. So if people they're like, hey, all right, I don't want to be dead to you. How do I get on this email list?
Yes, you can go to hsvexplorer.com, just HSV and then explorer.com. And then on there, you can find a link to sign up to the newsletter. You can find our event calendar on there. That's something we rolled out recently where we're trying to like curate all the events in one spot. So a lot of the links in our newsletter would go back to our event calendar. I'm really trying hard to build that out and kind of to pull all the events in town there. So that's a good resource for people. If you're just bored looking for something to do, scroll through our event calendar. All that is at hsvexplorer.com. On socials, Instagram and Facebook, you can find us. Just type in Huntsville Explorer and look for the little red rocket logo, and you can follow us there. And then if you want to reach out to me personally, my email is andrew@hsvexplorer.com. You can reach me there or just shoot me a DM on social media through the Huntsville Explorer accounts.
Excellent. And he didn't mention it earlier, but hey, he needs you on that email list because he's about to have his first kid. All right, he needs some extra funds coming in, so help him out, get him some sponsors, get him
some more subscribers, please.
Yeah, congratulations on that, man. It's coming near Halloween, so y'all be ready for that. You'll probably be in the newsletter. Just get on the newsletter list. So, hey, Andrew.
Thank you. Yeah, hopefully I won't miss a day of sending or something like that. We'll see. So if I miss a day of sending, just in October, assume I'm at the hospital having a baby. Well, my wife's having a baby, but I'm there supporting her.
We'll let you slide on that, man. If you just a couple posts, it'll be all right, man. Appreciate you coming on the show. Let us know everything you got going on. Very cool newsletter you got going on. Appreciate you doing that. It's a lot of hard work goes into it. So, hey, if you guys are listening right now, go ahead and subscribe on that. Follow Andrew on the social media. I'll link all his information in the show notes. So you can just go check it out right there. Keep up the great work, Andrew. And we'll see everybody next week on the Huntsville Hustle podcast.